Hey Life Groups, welcome to the new study on gentle strength. We are going along with this sermon series here for a couple weeks, and Pastor Mark kicked us off on Sunday, so if you didn't get a chance to listen to that sermon, please do. And he began his sermon, he talked about all of the different things in our country, in our society, that people disagree about. I mean, pick a topic from gun rights, abortion, to left-right politics, from the wealth gap that exists in our country, the rich and the poor, people all across the spectrum on a variety of issues. I mean, you could go on and on to talk about the issues that people don't want to talk about because there's this constant friction, there's this animosity, there's this yelling, and kind of uncertain on how to navigate these social and cultural waters. So what does it look like to be a Christian today? What does it look like to be a Christian in America in the year 2023? How can we exhibit the fruit of the Spirit that we've talked about, not only in our own personal lives, not only in relationships that we have with other brothers and sisters in Christ, but with people in our workplace, with our friends, with our neighbors, with family members who we know disagree with us. That's what this sermon series is all about in Gentle Strength. Pastor Mark quoted an author this past week. His name is Scott Sauls, and he wrote a book called A Gentle Answer, and he's got some great wisdom on how Christians can begin to navigate this polarizing world that we're in, both with the courage and strength of Christ, as well as his meekness, gentleness, and humility. So go ahead, listen in to Scott.
Well, it's great to be with you. My name is Cameron, one of the pastors here among our family of churches at Highland Park Pres. So grateful to get to be joined alongside Scott Sauls, author, but also senior pastor of Christ Presbyterian Church in Nashville, Tennessee. Scott has just preached for us here at Highland Park Pres in Dallas on the power of a gentle answer. And so we wanted to just do a brief follow-up question and answer. And Scott, thank you so much for taking a little time to sit down with us.
My pleasure, Cameron.
Absolutely. So I want to get into, again, just the power of a gentle answer. I think for so many of us as followers of Jesus, we when we think about this word gentle, we associate it with being nice or non-confrontational. Mm-hmm. But when you look at Jesus in the Gospels, it seems like there's something just qualitatively different. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit more about that. What does it mean to be gentle, and why is that so countercultural in our day?
Well, being gentle is countercultural because gentleness is such a rare feature anymore, at least in the public space of social media, cable news, talk shows. One writer from the New York Times named Tim Kreider actually coined a term called outrage porn, where he says that there's this ubiquitous thirst or hunger or hunt to find something to be offended by, and then to, pounce on it and, form your tribe and declare a common enemy. And so much community anymore is built around that. And so to come into that kind of public space with the fruit of gentleness and add to it the other fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, there's gentleness, and self-control. And you get something radically counterculture. Yeah. Now, counterculture doesn't mean against the culture. It means different than. It means set apart from. It means distinct and unique in comparison to. And in terms of Christ, to your question, he was unequivocally gentle and kind, especially with those who were weak, tired, beaten up, sinners who were aware of how short they fall of the glory of God, and sufferers who were aware of how much they need help outside of their own resources. He had such a tender, gentle, soft, kind-hearted, welcoming way. Yeah. Whether you're talking about a guilty woman caught in the act of adultery, or whether you're talking about a tyrant like Saul of Tarsus, who is just blinded and realizes that he's been living all wrong up to this point. Christ has a version of welcome and rest for any kind of person who's been brought to a place of humility. Now, where his gentleness is contrasted, this is where you get the lion side instead of the lamb side of Jesus, is when he confronts or is confronted by somebody who's filled with pride, somebody who's filled with self-righteousness, somebody who believes that all the problems with the world are other people. That's when Jesus tends to get more confrontational, more prophetic, more in your face, as it were. And his gentleness and his prophetic spirit are not contradictory. They actually work together. And sometimes even in the very same moment, and in this very same behavior of being confrontational in one direction is actually being experienced as gentleness from the person standing behind him whom he is protecting, maybe from bullies or from antagonists or, judgy, people or communities. This group of people may be experiencing Jesus confrontational, whereas people he's defending and protecting are experiencing him as gentle and kind and protective.
So good. So well said. So needing both the gentleness and the confrontational, they're one and the same. They're not mutually exclusive. Well said.
That's right.